Let's be real, we are in the middle of a massive AI revolution. And as these incredibly powerful, autonomous systems jump from the pages of science fiction into our everyday lives, we have to ask a really important question. How on earth do we keep them secure?
I mean, just think about it. You might have an AI right now that's managing your calendar, maybe even booking your flights. It's super helpful, right? But what happens if that AI gets tricked? Can you really truly trust it with the keys to your entire digital life? Okay, so to really get a handle on the risk here, we first have to understand this huge shift that's happening. AI is basically getting a massive promotion. It's moving way, way beyond being just a simple assistant that answers questions.
And this is what we mean when we say an AI is agentic. It's not just fetching information anymore. No, we're talking about an AI that can actually make its own decisions, use real-world tools, access your private data, and run entire workflows, all without you needing to approve every single little step. It is a crazy leap in capability.
But you know what they say, with great power comes great, well, new dangers. All this new autonomy creates what the security pros call a new attack surface, and it is crawling with these invisible threats that, frankly, we've never had to deal with before. And here's the real kicker. The security tools we've all been relying on for decades, they just aren't built for this. Your firewall, your antivirus software, they're looking for bad pieces of code. They have no idea how to spot a cleverly worded sentence that can completely hijack an AI's brain. You see, we used to worry about things like viruses and phishing scams. Now, the game has totally changed. The threats have these wild names like prompt injection, tool abuse, and memory manipulation. It is a completely different and way more subtle battlefield. So if the old defenses are useless, what do we do? Well, the solution is actually pretty fascinating. To protect an AI, you first have to learn how to break it. You've got to start thinking like the bad guy. This quote from the AI security firm AGenRed it nails the whole philosophy. It's not about some gentle, predictable test. No, it's about applying intense, creative, and adversarial pressure to find out exactly where the system cracks. And there's a name for this. It's called an offensive-first methodology. It's a strategy that is all about ethically hacking your own AI systems. The whole point is to find all the behavioral weaknesses and weird glitches before a real attacker does.
Okay, so we get the what and the why, but now let's dig into the how. What does this whole ethical attack thing actually look like in the real world?
Right, so this isn't just random poking around, it is a very structured process. First, the teams try to ethically break the system. Then they analyze its behavior, not just its code. They push the model to its absolute limits under pressure, and they simulate exactly what a malicious user would do to see how the entire system holds up. So let's talk about one of the most common attacks out there. It's called prompt injection, and it's basically like a Jedi mind trick for an AI. An attacker uses the super cleverly written input to fool the AI into ignoring all its safety rules and doing something it was never, ever supposed to do. And believe me, the attacks can get even sneakier. With something called memory poisoning, an attacker can slowly corrupt the AI's memory over time just through conversation. It's a slow burn attack. The AI seems totally fine at first, but later down the line, it starts making bad decisions because its memories have been secretly poisoned. And hey, remember how we said these agents can use tools? Well, this is where tool abuse comes in, and it's where things get really scary. This is where attackers test if they can trick the AI into misusing those tools. Can they convince it to send an email from your account, or maybe delete a critical file? This is where the virtual threat becomes very, very real. So all of these individual tests, they fit into this larger framework of professional AI security. You've got red teaming for the core AI brain, agent security for its actions, application security for how it plugs into other software, and then a full-blown risk assessment to map out the whole threat landscape.
All right, let's zoom out for a second here. Why does any of this really matter? I mean, what are the big picture stakes for all of us?
Well, this kind of security isn't just for some tiny niche group. We're talking about AI startups, huge software companies, big enterprises. I mean, basically any organization that's building the tools that we are all going to be using in the very near future. This tech is becoming foundational to everything.
And this brings us to what might be the most important point of all. The goal of all this work, it isn't just about patching bugs. It's about building an entire new discipline of security from the ground up. It's about setting professional standards so that we can all deploy this incredibly powerful technology responsibly.
And that leaves us with one final and pretty heavy question. As these intelligent agents literally become the engine of our world, who's holding the keys? And more importantly, who's making sure those keys are safe?